Tucker Carlson Tonight host sounds off on the left's devotion for Dr. Fauci.If you'd asked Anthony Fauci 60 years ago, when he was a student at Holy Cross in Massachusetts, whether he'd grow up to single-handedly control how Christians celebrate their most beloved holiday, Fauci probably would have assumed you were high smoking that tea with the beatniks in Greenwich Village, or something. Reefer madness. He would have been confused. At the time, Fauci was studying to become a doctor, not the Pope. There was a difference then. Little could he have known back in 1958 that public health would become America's reigning religion, and he its high priest. But life is like that. You never know where you're going to end up. Fast forward to the beginning of last December. Anthony Fauci was 79 years old. His 80th birthday, it turns out, was Christmas Eve, and Fauci was determined to celebrate with an exhibition of authority flexing that had no precedent in the entire history of the federal bureaucracy. No one had ever done it before, but Fauci did. He decided to unilaterally end Christmas. And so, one day on NBC News, he did.
Reporter, a warning and a plea from Dr. Anthony Fauci. Andrea Mitchell, should people now cancel their travel plans for Christmas? Fauci, to the extent possible, don't travel, don't congregate together. Do not travel for Christmas, Fauci said. Do not congregate together to celebrate it. That means no Christmas Eve in church. No Christmas morning under the tree with your family tearing through stockings. It means no Christmas at all. Sacred Christian observance cancelled until further notice from Dr. Anthony S. Fauci, ND. What a thrill it must have been for him to say something like that. Here's a guy who fully expected to spend his life giving prostate exams, and there he was declaring the ancient Christian calendar null and void. Pretty amazing. But more amazing was the reaction Fauci received when he said it. The people in charge loved it. They never cared much for Christmas anyway. All that religious talk, unsupervised family time. It faintly seemed like a threat. Anthony Fauci, by contrast, was no threat at all to the people in charge. He worked for them. His job was to do their bidding, to confirm their biases, and to never, ever challenge their sense of their own moral superiority. Their job in return was to love him for it. And they did. Drive through affluent neighborhoods in Washington, D.C. to this day, and you'll see the signs in people's front yards, honk for Dr. Fauci. In Dr. Fauci we trust. And above all, thank you, Tony Fauci. They really do want to thank him, not for funding the gain-of-function research in Wuhan that created COVID. No. It's bigger than that. They're thanking Dr. Fauci for the gift of life, which he alone bestows. What you're seeing here is Washington's new religion, Fauciism. So it shouldn't surprise you that this year, once again, our moral leaders are asking Dr. Fauci the same question. Christmas is coming. Can we celebrate it? Before we go through the hassle of booking plane tickets, renting cars, and buying presents for our loved ones, and preparing to celebrate the central holiday of the country's biggest religion, please let us know, Dr. Fauci. Is it on or off? Have we been naughty or nice? Tell us. This year, the job of asking that question fell to an anchor at CBS News. On Sunday she asked Dr. Fauci. Here's what he said. Brennan, but we can gather for Christmas, or it's just too soon to tell. Fauci, you know, Margaret, it's just too soon to tell. We've just got to concentrating on continuing to get those numbers down and not try to jump ahead by weeks or months and say what we're going to do at a particular time. It really depends on how you behave, whether you're naughty or nice. At this point, it's just too soon to tell whether you can have Christmas this year. And in hearing that, the news lady just nods. It's all perfectly normal. We'll check back with you, Dr. Fauci. Keep doing science, as only you can. And of course, that's exactly what Tony Fauci plans to do. It's what he's done with his life. Last week, Fauci had to unravel this scientific puzzle. Are the hundreds of thousands of sneezing, unvaccinated illegal immigrants coming into this country every month driving a spike in COVID cases? Could that be happening? Figuring that out was his job, as a scientist. Fauci's scientific conclusion. Well, here it is. Dana Bash, are immigrants a major reason why COVID-19 is spreading in the US? Fauci, no, absolutely not, Dana. I mean, if you just look at the data and look at the people who have gotten infected, look at the people who are in the hospital, look at the people who have died, this is not driven by immigrants. No, absolutely not, Dana. The sneezing unvaccinated migrants streaming across our southern border from around the world are absolutely fine. In fact, from a public health perspective, they're great people, like BLM rioters, but very much unlike Trump voters. In fact, these people may be the solution to this pandemic. If we're going to beat this COVID thing, we're going to need a few 100,000 more people from Haiti, ASAP. They know a thing or two about public health. Thanks, Dr. Fauci. Meanwhile, other non-religious data tell a different story. The latest figures from immigration officials show that fully 18% of illegal migrants leaving Border Patrol custody have tested positive for COVID. That doesn't include the unknown, but very large numbers, who never wound up in Border Patrol custody. More than 25% of migrants who were recently scheduled for some expedited deportation flights have tested positive. What percentage of these people are vaccinated? None. But let's face reality here, Tony Fauci says. None of that's a problem. The real problem is you, and your silly demands to see your family for Christmas. Or to be with your aging parents as they die in the hospital. That's the problem. And how you vote. Our public health establishment strongly agrees with this. As Tony Fauci spoke, the CDC rolled out new guidance to match. They cautioned that people should hold virtual holiday celebrations or have socially distanced celebrations outdoors. At the end of December. We're doing all this, keep in mind, for a virus with a median age of death that's higher than life expectancy in both the United States and the United Kingdom. Let that sink in. In the state of Ohio, for example, where the life expectancy is 73, the median age of COVID deaths is now 79. That's just public health.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.